right.
So at some points, people were then told to turn in their car keys and their passport and their credit cards, so that to prevent that from happening.
Oh, so up front they had to.
Well, not at the beginning, but if a person was, maybe wavering, they would be required to, and it happened to me at one point, turn in your keys.
Right.
So we want to know you're not going to leave.
Right, right.
And then sometimes when people did run away, somebody was sent to retrieve them. And there was a story, there was one man who ran away to Holland, and I was sent to fetch him.
And he came back?
No.
Yeah. Oh,
I found him, but he didn't, we couldn't turn him around. He was gone.
Right. Well, the center has been a part of the community for a few years, and I remember, I believe, being on the ZBA when right after you'd moved there, and they came to look for an okay to change around the gymnasium. And then we've also, it's very interesting, whenever the police are called up there, which isn't often, usually for to do parking, help with parking at concerts. Those housing units all have different names, and what were some of the names? Tranquility and humility, tranquility, and like that. So they always thought that was a very interesting journey to take, to go around and look at all those units with all the names on it. And this was all part of the spiritual aspect, the attempt to grow the spirituality. And there were other events that took place.
Well, one I think that's particularly resonant because of the lake itself and the prominence of Laurel Lake in the community here in Lee and Lenox is there was a time when the women's group at Fox Hollow was deemed to be doing poorly in their teachers' eyes, and in an attempt to come up with something to atone for, to apologize for their situation to their teacher, the women came up with the idea of prostrating or dunking themselves in the lake for 1 hour while chanting verses from Andrew Cohen's teachings. So that took place. The women did dunk themselves for an hour in the lake. Most of them, some of them couldn't bear the water because this was in October, it was very cold. And one woman passed out and had to be carried out of the water.
Right.
But that's a little bit of the kind of kind of events that can take place at Fox Hollow.
Right, right. And so, what particularly impelled you then to ultimately leave?
Well, it was a series of abusive events, such as the ones I'm describing.
Right.
And it took a while. In my case, I think I was quite committed, and so it took a while to sort of peel me away from my commitment and to allow me to to find my way out.
Right.
And then it actually took a while to come to terms with what happened and to kind of begin to understand it. And just to backtrack a little bit, one of the things that happened to me and happened to many people is that in a time of doing very poorly in your teacher's eyes, in EnlightenNext, often people would make large donations in the hopes that that would improve their standing. And I was having a difficult passage with my teacher, and as I'd seen others do before me, I offered a donation of my inheritance. Subsequently, it was accepted, and I was told to send it in. That was $80,000. And so this goes back to the instruction from Phil Heller also.
Right, right.
Because the donation was given at a very disturbed time in my emotional state.
Right, right.
And so the donation was made, and then after leaving, I felt that it was unfairly taken from me, not under fair, open circumstances, and I demanded that it be returned. And Andrew Cohen responded that he would return it, but I had to sign a 5-year gag order, agreeing not to make any public statements for 5 years.
what happened with William, then for 5 years he was not able to write anything about all the events that went on that he describes in the book. But after that 5-year period, then he did write this book, and this is called American Guru, and this can be purchased at the bookstore in Lenox. And the reason I discovered William was I went to a reading up at the bookstore, and the bookstore is owned by Matt Tannenbaum, who is someone who believes that a bookstore should be a bastion of free thought, just like bookstores were in the old days. For example, City Lights bookstore in San Francisco, and that it still has that sense. So I went to this reading at the bookstore a few weeks ago, and William was there, and Matt had sponsored him, and so I heard this for the first time, and it's always interesting to me to see what how local events develop. People who have connections with this community, how they happen to come here, and so this is William's story. And William is doing this because he believes this is a public service, and that the truth will set you free in a sense, and that's what he's doing. And this is a service to the people in Berkshire County and in this area who need to know what's going on in their community. So any final words on this, William?
Well, thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I'd just like to mention that there's a website, AmericanGuru.net.
Okay.
For the book, and on that site there are articles and reviews and links to other stories that would be interesting for someone who's interested in this issue.
Right, and this is what the organization is called. It's called EnlightenNext, in case you have not seen this word very much here in the Berkshires, EnlightenNext. And the interesting thing is, too, that a group of disenchanted, but more than disenchanted, former students, I think students who felt that whose talents and skills had been demeaned, now have a website, a blog of their own, and it's called What Enlightenment, correct? .net. So if you'd like to go there and read some other stories similar to William's story, it's called WhatEnlightenment.net. Okay, William, let's see if there's one last thing we might want to ask. Even though this was a story, as you said, of love, betrayal, and healing, you do feel as though it was a growing experience for you, and that certainly...
Sure, in many ways. I mean, it provided lots of opportunities for me to learn more about myself, to be in a community with loving friends, and to apply myself wholeheartedly to projects I believed in, and to give of myself in a very full, wholehearted way. And that's, I mean, when you can do that, you will learn, even if in the end the project has
crumbled or whatever.
Serious drawbacks, yes.
Yes, right. And so now William lives over in the Connecticut Valley where he started out years ago, and he's over there now. Thank you, William. And I just have a few thoughts as we finish up this program. And I believe we can finish up here with William saying the very famous quote, "And the truth will set you free." So thank you so much. Let's have a little toast to that. Thank you for bringing your message to the Berkshires. Mm-hmm.